You did not stumble upon this video by chance. There is a reason your eyes are here, your mind alert, your heart slightly racing with anticipation. Something inside you has already shifted, quietly, invisibly, but undeniably. This is not just another idea. It is not another technique or motivation. It is the final law, the one that reshapes your path, not by force but by realization. Because long before you clicked this video, you were already entangled with its message. Right now there is an unseen field around you, a lattice of connection that pulses with everything you have loved, feared, desired, avoided, dreamt, and forgotten. This field is not imaginary, it is measurable, it is alive, and it is responding to you, to your thoughts, to your focus, to your very state of being. Physicists call it quantum entanglement. Spiritual sages called it oneness. You might simply feel it as something in the air. That eerie sense that things are aligning in ways you cannot explain, or unraveling just as fast. That feeling is not madness. It is resonance. You are not a passive observer of life. You are not merely reacting to a world that moves around you. You are a participant in a delicate, intelligent network of energies that mirror your internal world back to you with shocking precision. And that is the truth most people never learn. That what you feel, think, expect, and carry within you, it is not just stored, it is broadcast. Every belief you silently hold, every memory you still orbit, every desire you are afraid to claim, it is all being transmitted into the quantum field. And the field is replying constantly, faithfully, exactly. What happens when your signal entangles with old pain? You repeat. What happens when it entangles with unconscious doubt? You stall. But what happens when it entangles with pure intention? Everything begins to change. Right now you are entangled with outcomes you cannot see yet, with people you have not met, timelines you have not stepped into, and wisdom you have not remembered. This video is not just information, it is a key to recognition. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. If you have ever felt like something big is happening, but cannot explain it, this is your confirmation. You are not imagining it. You are aligning with it. In the next few minutes, you will discover something that will reframe your reality from the inside out. A principle so fundamental yet so hidden that once it clicks, your entire path begins to shift. Not slowly, instantly, because the final law of entanglement has nothing to do with waiting. It has everything to do with awareness. You are not late. You are not behind. You are entangled with this message now because you were always meant to be. And that is the truth of quantum alignment. You only see the sign when your signal matches the message. So take a breath. Drop your shoulders. Let your awareness open like a lens adjusting to new light. Because what comes next is what you were never taught, but always felt. To understand what is really happening to your path, we must start with the science you were never taught in school. Imagine two particles, born from the same energetic event, suddenly flung apart, one toward the edge of the galaxy, the other nestled right here on Earth. Despite the unimaginable distance, when one particle shifts, the other instantly responds. No signal, no time delay, no visible bridge. This is quantum entanglement, the most mysterious and mind-bending concept ever observed in modern physics. You are not separate from the world around you, and the universe keeps proving that over and over. Let us break it down. In the quantum realm, the tiniest layer of reality, particles exist in a state of possibility. They are not this or that until something observes them. Until then, they are waves of probability, scattered, undefined, free. Now, here is where it gets wild. When two particles become entangled, meaning their properties are connected through interaction, they remain bonded. That bond transcends space and time. If you flip one particle, the other instantly mirrors the change. It does not matter if they are a mile apart or a million light years. The information bypasses distance. It bypasses time. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. He doubted it. But experiment after experiment has proven it is real. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what does that mean for you? You are not made of something separate from those particles. Your body, your brain, your breath, all are made from atoms. Those atoms are made from subatomic particles, and those particles, they obey quantum laws, which means you do too. You are entangled with people. You are entangled with ideas. You are entangled with timelines. And when something shifts in your field, your attention, your emotion, your expectation, the universe responds instantly. Not always in ways your eyes can see, but always in ways your energy will feel. Let us bring this down to earth. Have you ever felt someone's mood the moment they walk in, before they say a word? Have you ever known who was calling before your phone even rang? Have you ever thought of a person you have not spoken to in years, and they messaged you that very day? That is not coincidence. That is entanglement in motion. The quantum field is a sea of possibility. Every version of your life, the abundant one, the stagnant one, the bold one, the peaceful one, exists as a wave waiting to collapse into form. And you collapse it by observation, by focus, by feeling. But entanglement adds another layer. It says you are not collapsing in isolation. You are bonded with the energies you carry, your relationships, your past, your desires, your wounds, your visions. All of it is part of the equation. When you think a thought, it is not just internal. It sends a pulse into the field. That pulse interacts with every point of resonance it can find, and that is what forms your experience. The science is profound, but its spiritual implication is even deeper. You are not broken. You are connected. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to realize you are already part of its code. And just like particles, you can shift. You can realign. You can change the entanglement pattern by changing what you believe, what you expect, what you hold inside. Because here is the truth. You are always broadcasting, and the field is always listening. This is not philosophy. It is physics. The quantum field does not reward effort. It responds to coherence, to alignment, to signal. You do not get what you want. You get what you resonate with. Let us say that again. You do not get what you want. You get what you resonate with. So when you walk through life vibrating with fear, shame, confusion, that is what you entangle with. And the field mirrors it back. But when you shift your internal field into clarity, gratitude, vision, you begin to entangle with entirely new outcomes. That is why transformation does not begin outside you. It begins inside the invisible realm, the realm of particles, waves, and possibility. And when you begin to understand how entanglement works, you stop blaming. You stop forcing. You start remembering. Everything is connected. Everything is responding. And you, yes you, are the entangled center of it all. What you believe becomes your signal. What you signal becomes your path. What you walk becomes your life. You are the cause. You are the entangler. You are not waiting for change. You are already changing what you are entangled with right now. So breathe that in. Feel the gravity of it. Because if this is true, and science says it is, then nothing about your life is random. Nothing is stuck. Nothing is out of reach. It is all responding to your internal alignment. This is what they never taught you in school. But it is what your soul has always known. Have you ever known someone would call right before they did? That is entanglement in motion. But entanglement does not just connect you to others, it connects you to your future. You are not on a path toward your future. You are entangled with it. right now. This may sound impossible at first, but the science says otherwise. Because the future you dream of, the version of yourself you long to become, the life that feels just out of reach, it is not waiting for you at the end of a straight line. It is orbiting you, entangled with your present, quietly influenced by every thought, every focus, every frequency you choose to hold. Let us start here. The double-slit experiment, one of the most famous in quantum physics, showed something astonishing. Particles, when unobserved, behave like waves, infinite, scattered, undefined. But the moment they are observed, they collapse into one specific location. That is reality forming in real time. Your attention is not passive. It is creative. When you focus on something, an outcome, an identity, a possibility, you are collapsing that wave into form. You are selecting one timeline from the infinite ones that surround you. And now let us add the layer of entanglement. Because the future version of you, the one who is confident, aligned, abundant, peaceful, is not a stranger. It is already linked to you. It is sending signals back through the field. And whether or not you notice those signals depends on your frequency. You are in constant dialogue with your future self. Every moment of inspiration, every intuitive nudge, every random vision you get of a life that feels too beautiful to be real, that is not imagination. That is information. And that information is quantum. The reason it feels so real, so charged, is because it is already happening. In one version of space-time, that life is already unfolding. And when your current vibration matches the vibration of that timeline, you begin to entangle with it. You begin to collapse that version into this one. You are not creating the future from scratch. You are selecting it from an infinite sea of possibilities. But here is where most people miss it. They think the future is something they have to chase, something they have to earn, something that might arrive if they work hard enough, if they are lucky enough, if the universe decides to reward them. That is the old paradigm. That is linear time. But quantum time is not linear. It is holographic. In quantum time, every version of you already exists. Every version of your life is already alive, as energy, as possibility, as vibration. And what determines which version you experience? Your resonance, your attention, your internal field. So when you hold fear, you entangle with the timeline where fear leads. When you doubt yourself, you entangle with the timeline where doubt becomes self-sabotage. But when you begin to hold belief, not just mentally but emotionally, physically, you align with the version of you that already lives in that truth. This is not fantasy. It is not hope. It is quantum reality. And here is the part you must remember. The future is not silent. It speaks, constantly. The question is, are you listening? Every moment you feel pulled towards something better, that is not random. It is resonance. You are responding to your own signal, echoing back from a timeline that already knows who you truly are. You have felt it before, that inner knowing that you were meant for something more. That sensation that something invisible is guiding you, even when you do not know what it is. That is the entanglement speaking. And the more you acknowledge it, the stronger it becomes. The clearer the signal, the faster the collapse. Because what you acknowledge strengthens. What you focus on expands. And what you feel selects the future you receive. Now let us bring this into your reality. Think of a moment when your life changed direction, not because of logic, but because of instinct. Maybe you took a job, ended a relationship, moved to a new place, and something about it felt deeply familiar, even if it made no sense. That was entanglement with your future self, pulling you toward alignment, gently collapsing the path beneath your feet. When you begin to live from this awareness, life feels different. Less like a maze, more like a signal path. You begin to trust the invisible nudges. You begin to let go of linear timelines. You begin to feel deeply, fully, that you are not waiting to become something. You are remembering what you already are. Let us pause here. Say this out loud. I am already connected to the future that matches my truth. Again, I am already connected to the future that matches my truth. One more time. I am already connected to the future that matches my truth. You are not asking the universe to deliver you something. You are aligning with the version of you that already has it. You are collapsing that wave into form. This is not magic. It is alignment. It is coherence. It is quantum recognition. And once you learn to recognize the signal, once you trust the guidance that lives just beyond logic, you begin to shift timelines, not with force, but with resonance. This is the art of entangled creation. This is the science of becoming who you already are. Right now, your future is sending you signals. The question is, are you still ignoring them? And yet, most people stay stuck. Why? Because they are unknowingly caught in repeating loops. You have probably asked yourself this question more than once. Why do I keep ending up in the same situation again? Different faces, different places, but somehow, the same pain, the same fears, the same emotional patterns playing on repeat, like an invisible script. You are not cursed. You are not broken. You are entangled. And until you shift the signal, the cycle continues. Let us go deeper. Quantum entanglement is not only about connection, it is about influence. When two energies become linked, what happens to one affects the other, even when they are far apart. Now imagine this. Your consciousness, your beliefs, your memories, your emotions has become entangled with past experiences. Moments of trauma, wounds that never fully healed, beliefs that were never truly yours to begin with. These do not simply fade. They imprint into your field. They become energetic contracts. And without realizing it, you start attracting situations that reflect them, not because you want to, but because your frequency demands it. This is the entanglement trap. It is not your conscious mind creating the loop. It is your unresolved vibration. It is the emotional echo of past pain pulling you into familiar patterns. Think about it. You want love, but you keep choosing emotionally unavailable partners. You want abundance, but you keep hitting the same invisible ceiling. You want peace, but your life feels like chaos just beneath the surface. That is not failure. It is repetition. Because until you disentangle, until you release the signal that keeps broadcasting old truths, you will keep tuning into the same reality over and over again. The universe is not punishing you. It is mirroring you. That is the quantum feedback loop. And here is the hard truth. You cannot manifest a new outcome while vibrating with the same emotion that created the old one. You may speak affirmations. You may visualize. But if your core frequency is still entangled with fear, guilt, lack, or shame, those will override your words every time. Because energy does not lie. This is why people feel stuck. They are doing the surface work, but the core entanglement remains. It is like trying to change a radio station while the dial is stuck on one frequency. You keep hearing the same song because you are still tuned into the same broadcast. Your beliefs are not just thoughts. They are energy codes. And those codes become magnets, attracting experiences that match their vibration. Even when you try to resist, the signal persists. So what is the way out? First, you must see it. You must recognize that your reality is not random, it is responsive. Your repeated experiences are not bad luck. They are patterns. And patterns can be reprogrammed, but only from the inside. You must bring awareness to the entanglements still active in your field, the promises you made to survive, the stories you told yourself to stay safe, the masks you wore to be loved. Because those are not just memories, they are frequencies, and frequencies form contracts. You may not remember signing them, but you have been living by them. Until now, let us pause. Take a breath. Feel the gravity of what you are hearing. Because this is not about blame, it is about power. You are not broken. You are bonded. But bonds can be changed. Patterns can be dissolved. Frequencies can be shifted. And when they are, you stop living the same story in different clothing. You stop calling it fate and start calling it feedback. Say this now. I am no longer entangled with the pain of my past. Again, I am no longer entangled with the pain of my past. One more time. I am no longer entangled with the pain of my past, because you cannot walk forward if your energy is still facing backward. The path will always feel like a loop, until you turn your signal into a new direction. But here is what is beautiful. You do not need to understand the full science to shift your entanglement. You only need to begin feeling differently, consistently, consciously, courageously. You need to make peace with the past. You need to forgive where necessary, not for them but for your own frequency. You need to let go of the identity that was shaped in survival, so you can step into the one that creates from presence. This is where quantum entanglement becomes personal, because it is not just happening between particles. It is happening between your past self and your present self, between your pain and your power, between who you were and who you are choosing to become. And the moment you choose to break that invisible bond, the pattern begins to dissolve, the cycle begins to slow, the loop begins to open. Suddenly you make a new decision, and it sticks. You attract someone new, and it feels safe. You act with courage, and do not sabotage it afterward. Why? Because the entanglement has changed. And when that happens, reality does not just shift, it rewrites. What if every mistake set you keep repeating is not your fault, but your frequency? And that frequency is held in emotion. Emotion is not just a feeling, it is a frequency. It is a signal that shapes the structure of your reality and binds you to the timelines that match its vibration. Every emotion you hold has a quantum signature. Joy is not just lightheartedness, it is resonance. Grief is not just sorrow, it is contraction. And fear. Fear is one of the strongest anchors you can transmit into the quantum field. Your emotions are not invisible. They are codes. When you feel an emotion long enough, it begins to form a loop, a feedback pattern between your inner state and the outer world. This is not a metaphor, it is a mechanism. You feel guilt, so your mind starts scanning for reasons to feel guilty. You feel unworthy, so you attract situations that confirm that belief. And once that loop is formed, the entanglement becomes self-sustaining. You think it is just your mood, but it is your signal. And signals shape selection. The field, that intelligent web of potential, does not speak language. It speaks vibration. It responds to what you are being, not just what you are saying. That is why people can say affirmations all day long and still feel stuck. Because beneath the surface, they are still entangled with the emotional signature of fear, shame, anger, or doubt. And until that emotional frequency is acknowledged, accepted, and transmuted, the loop repeats. Let us look at this clearly. Emotional entanglement is what keeps you locked into past-based outcomes. It is why, even when you want change, part of you is still resisting it. Because emotion has memory. Emotion has gravity. Emotion pulls. And if you are not consciously choosing the emotions you dwell in, you are unconsciously reinforcing the timelines you wish to leave behind. But here is what they did not teach you. Emotion is not permanent. It is pliable. It is programmable. You do not have to force yourself to feel differently. You only need to become aware of what you are currently entangled with and begin the process of shifting your state from within. Presence is your power. The moment you stop judging what you feel and start witnessing it, You begin to shift its structure. You interrupt the feedback loop. You reclaim your signal. Let us make this tangible. When you feel fear arise, do not suppress it. Feel it fully. Locate it in your body. Name it. Witness it without attachment. And then gently, gradually begin introducing a new frequency. Breathe deeply. Bring gratitude into your awareness. Place your hand on your heart and say, I am safe to feel. I am safe to release. I am safe to rise. This is emotional alchemy. You are not running from emotion. You are transmuting it. You are reminding your field that it has other options, other frequencies, other futures. Because once you begin to feel differently, you begin to choose differently. And once you choose differently, your entire field begins to reorganize. Here is the truth. Every higher timeline you desire, peace, love, abundance, clarity, is already available. But it lives at a different frequency. It requires a different emotional signature. You cannot reach it from guilt. You cannot merge with it through fear. You can only access it through coherence, through alignment. And alignment begins in the heart. That is not poetic. That is measurable. Heart coherence, the state of emotional regulation, gratitude, and clarity, has been shown to impact the electromagnetic field around your body. It affects the brain. It influences perception. It changes what you are a match for. So the more often you return to peace, the more often you return to love, the faster you disentangle from the emotional loops that have kept you repeating what no longer serves you. Say this now. I release the emotions that no longer reflect who I am becoming. Again, I release the emotions that no longer reflect who I am becoming. Because you are not your emotion, but your emotion is choosing your next reality. This is why emotional mastery is not luxury. It is the foundation of transformation. When you regulate your emotions, you regulate your quantum signature. When you regulate your signature, you regulate your selection. And when you regulate your selection, you become the architect of your path. It all begins here, not with action, not with strategy, with frequency. You are not your emotion, but your emotion is choosing your next reality. And this brings us to the most misunderstood power you hold: observation. You have been taught that reality exists outside of you, that the world is something you observe, not something you affect. But quantum mechanics reveals a truth far more extraordinary. You are not just witnessing your life. You are shaping it, moment by moment, simply by the way you observe. This is the observer effect. At the quantum level, particles do not behave like fixed objects. They exist in a state of potential, a wave of probability. They can be here or there until they are measured. But the instant they are observed, they collapse into a specific point. They become real. In other words, it is your observation that determines the outcome, not the other way around. This is not metaphor. This is tested physics. And it changes everything. Because if reality is shaped by observation, then your awareness is not passive. It is creative. It is a force. But here is what most people miss. Observation is not just looking. It is not simply using your eyes. It is how you perceive, how you focus, how you judge, how you expect. Your expectation is a lens. Your belief is a filter. Your emotion is an amplifier. So when you expect disappointment, you collapse a reality that confirms it. When you observe the world through a lens of fear, you collapse outcomes that mirror threat, lack, or loss. And when you hold the vibration of trust, you begin to observe, and therefore create, experiences that reflect that trust back to you. You are collapsing your future every moment based on how you are choosing to see the present. Let that settle, because it means this: you have more power than you think. Right now, your attention is like a spotlight. Where you place it grows. What you shine it on materializes. So if you focus on what is missing, what is wrong, what is not working, that becomes the outcome you stabilize. Not because life is punishing you, but because you are the observer, and the observer collapses the wave. Let us go deeper. Observation is not neutral. It is charged. It comes with layers, conscious and unconscious. You may want success, but if you are observing through a lens of doubt, you collapse a version where success stays just out of reach. You may crave love, but if your lens is still entangled with past rejection, you collapse a version where intimacy feels unsafe. The universe is not responding to what you say. It is responding to how you see, because how you see is how you instruct the field to behave. You are not waiting for proof. You are generating it. And when you change your lens, your life changes with it. Say this now. I observe with intention. I collapse with clarity. I choose with vision. Again, I observe with intention. I collapse with clarity. I choose with vision. This is not a mindset trick. It is quantum alignment. And it is not about pretending. It is not about ignoring reality. It is about realizing that reality is not fixed, it is fluid. And the way you observe is the way you collapse it. Let us bring this into the body. Imagine waking up and choosing to observe your life through the lens of possibility. Not from fantasy, but from presence. You notice beauty. You feel potential. You assume things are working for you. You see every interaction as meaningful. You move through your day expecting alignment. That observation, that lens, begins to shift your body's chemistry. Your nervous system softens. Your heart rate stabilizes. Your energy field becomes coherent. And as your internal observation changes, so does your external experience. Not instantly, not dramatically, but progressively, predictably, powerfully. This is how you collapse outcomes, not through control, but through conscious observation. And when you apply this to your dreams, to your vision, everything changes. You no longer observe from a place of desperation. You observe from a place of certainty. You walk as if the future is already forming around you, because it is. You begin to understand that the only real obstacle is the lens you are refusing to remove. And once that lens changes, once you begin to observe life as a co-creative field instead of a chaotic maze, you collapse outcomes that align with who you are becoming, not who you have been. That is the observer effect. That is the mechanism behind manifestation. That is how frequency becomes form. You are always observing. The only question is, from what frequency? Are you seeing your life through the lens of fear or through the lens of faith? Through wounds or through wisdom? Through resistance or through readiness? Because the moment you change your lens, you change the collapse. And the collapse is what forms your next moment. Let this truth settle into your being. You are not just seeing your reality, you are choosing it by how you look at it. Not with effort, but with awareness. Not with force, but with focus. Not with struggle, but with stillness. Observation is not something you do. It is something you become. Become the observer who trusts. Become the observer who expects alignment. Become the observer who collapses outcomes that match your truth, not your fear. Because when you do, your life becomes a reflection of clarity, a mirror of your inner focus, a field that bends toward your vision. You are not just seeing your reality, you are choosing it by how you look at it. But there is a deeper spiritual truth hidden inside the physics. There is a law buried within the mechanics of quantum entanglement, a truth so subtle that science cannot measure it, yet so powerful that it touches every corner of your life. You are never creating alone. Every thought, every desire, every intention you send into the field does not disappear into silence. It is met, it is matched, it is mirrored, Because creation is not a solo act. It is a partnership. You are not a lone creator standing separate from the universe. You are entangled with it, fused with its intelligence, its memory, its potential. And what you emit calls forward its counterpart. This is the final law. The unspoken principle behind every manifestation, every miracle, every synchronicity that left you speechless. You did not pull it from thin air. You matched it. You resonated with something already encoded in the fabric of existence. Desire is not chasing. Desire is dialogue. Every longing you feel is not just you reaching for something. It is something reaching for you at the exact same time. Because in the field, everything is connected, and every vibration seeks its twin. The ancient mystics knew this. They spoke of the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. But now the quantum field confirms it. What you seek already exists. And when your internal state matches its frequency, the universe does not give it to you, it reveals it. You are not creating by will. You are revealing through resonance. Let us be clear. Manifestation is not about effort. It is about entanglement. You do not manifest something simply by wanting it. You manifest it by becoming its match, emotionally, mentally, energetically. Because the quantum field is not activated by desperation, it is activated by coherence. So when you visualize from lack, you block the very thing you are trying to attract. But when you embody the feeling of already having it, when your nervous system relaxes, when your mind quiets, when your heart opens, you become the tuning fork. You become the signal, and the field responds. That is the law. You and your desire are already entangled, but that bond is either strengthened or distorted by your state of being. So if you are wondering why something has not shown up, ask yourself, are you trying to chase it? Or are you letting yourself become the version of you who lives inside it? Because those are two different signals. The spiritual law hidden in entanglement is this: every outcome is co-created. Every desire has a twin. Every prayer is answered the moment it is felt, because it already exists. The delay is not in the field. It is in the alignment. Say this out loud. What I seek is already seeking me. Again. What I seek is already seeking me. One more time. What I seek is already seeking me. This law goes deeper than action. It lives beneath strategy, beneath logic, beneath surface belief. It lives in identity. The version of you who feels abandoned will entangle with abandonment. The version of you who feels chosen will entangle with love. The version of you who believes in chaos will keep collapsing timelines filled with noise. But the version of you who trusts, who allows, who remembers, will collapse clarity, will collapse support, will collapse the path already waiting. This is not theory. It is embodiment. And embodiment does not require perfection. It requires permission. You must give yourself permission to stop chasing and start receiving, to stop pushing and start aligning, to stop proving and start believing. Because the final law does not say work harder. It says, match what you want by becoming who you are meant to be. This is not a shortcut. It is the original path. And once you begin to live by it, once you truly embody that everything is already available, you stop doubting. You stop forcing. You begin collapsing outcomes through beingness, not busyness. Let this truth settle. You are not manifesting from scratch. You are tuning into the version of reality where what you desire is already entangled with your presence. That is why it feels so familiar, so magnetic, so obvious when you finally meet it. Because in some way, you already have. This is how you reclaim your power, not by yelling into the universe, but by whispering into your own field, I am ready to match what I am meant for. You are not summoning something that is missing. You are remembering what was always yours. What you are seeking is already seeking you because it is already part of you. But sometimes the past keeps calling and we keep answering. Even when you feel ready to move forward, your past may still be speaking for you, not with words, but with energy, with signals you do not realize you are sending, with echoes that still ripple through the field, shaping what returns to you over and over again. This is the shadow side of entanglement. It is not just about attracting what you desire. It is also about what you have not released. Every experience you have had, especially the painful ones, leaves an imprint, a vibrational fingerprint in your field. And if that experience remains unprocessed, unhealed, or unacknowledged, its signal continues to broadcast on repeat. That heartbreak you never truly closed. That betrayal you never really forgave. That guilt you buried deep because it was too heavy to carry. All of it is still speaking, and the quantum field is listening. This is not punishment. It is programming. You are not attracting what you deserve. You are attracting what you are still entangled with. Think of your energy like a radio tower. Even if you say you want peace, if your tower is still transmitting chaos, that is the feedback you receive. Even if you say you want love, if your frequency is still entangled with abandonment, you will continue to draw in experiences that prove you are alone. Not because you want it, but because you have not disconnected the feed. This is how the past repeats. Not through time, but through transmission. And here is what makes it so deceptive. It often feels like life is doing it to you. But really, it is doing it through you. Because you are still operating from an emotional imprint that says, "This is what I expect. This is what feels familiar. This is what I survived, so this is what I know." You cannot walk a new path if your frequency is still coded with old survival. That is not judgment. That is mechanics. But now that you see it, you can change it. Because when you shift the signal, you shift what finds you. Let us bring this into the body. Where in your life do you keep repeating the same emotional pattern? Where do you feel stuck, even when your mind is clear? Even when your goals are strong? That is where your past is still entangled. That is where the old signal is still live. Now pause, breathe, let your awareness soften. Think of a memory that still feels raw. One that shaped the way you see yourself, your worth, your safety, your ability to receive. Can you feel how part of you still lives there? Still holds that story as truth? That version of you is not broken. It is protective. But its signal is outdated, and you have permission to turn it off. So how do you cut the feed? Not by force. Not by pretending it never happened. You cut the feed by facing the pain, not to relive it, but to release it. You sit with it. You breathe into it. You acknowledge what it gave you and what it cost you. You honor how it helped you survive. And then you choose to no longer build your future around it. You can say it like this: "Thank you for protecting me. But I no longer need this pattern to feel safe." And just like that, the loop begins to dissolve. Because what is seen with compassion loses its grip. From there you create a new signal. One rooted not in protection but in possibility. Not in survival, but in self-remembrance. Say this now: I release the frequency of my past. I now broadcast from my truth. Again, I release the frequency of my past. I now broadcast from my truth. This is not a one-time act. It is a practice. Each day you must choose the signal you send. Each day you must choose which version of yourself you broadcast from, the one shaped by wounds or the one shaped by wisdom. And when that choice becomes consistent, the feed rewrites itself. The old entanglements loosen. The feedback loop breaks. And what once repeated begins to dissolve into silence. You will know it is working when you start feeling calm in situations that used to trigger you. When you no longer chase what once hurt you. When your body relaxes in the presence of new love, new joy, new peace. That is not luck. That is a new signal taking hold. You cannot force the future into your life. You can only clear the space so that it arrives, clean, undistorted, and unmistakably aligned. Your past was never meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. But only if you stop letting it speak louder than your present. You are not here to repeat. You are here to remember. You are not meant to stay entangled with ghosts. You are meant to rise as the signal of something entirely new. Say this again. I am no longer broadcasting from my pain. I now transmit from power. And as that signal stabilizes, the quantum field does what it always does. It mirrors you. You cannot walk a new path with the same signal you used to survive the old one. So how do you start reshaping your timeline consciously? You do not need to escape your life to change it. You need to become more aware of how you are creating it. You are not at the mercy of random events. You are immersed in a responsive field, a field that listens to your inner world far more than your outer words. This is not about controlling everything. It is about becoming conscious of your entanglements. Every thought, every belief, every assumption you repeat becomes a thread in the web of your reality. And those threads are not just passive reflections, they are active participants. They signal the field. They shape the outcome. They tell the quantum realm which version of your life to stabilize. So how do you change the path ahead? You start by changing what you are entangled with. Reshaping your timeline does not require effort. It requires awareness. Let us begin at the root. Identity. You cannot attract a reality that contradicts your identity. If you still see yourself as the abandoned one, the struggling one, the one who always gets left behind, the field must match that identity. Not because you deserve it, but because you are entangled with it. To shift your timeline, you must first shift who you believe yourself to be. This is not theory. It is neurological. It is energetic. It is quantum, because when you hold a new identity long enough, when you speak it, feel it, and act from it, your brain forms new networks. Your nervous system recalibrates. Your energetic signal upgrades. And your environment begins to respond in kind. That is how you collapse new outcomes. By becoming a match for what you want, not from longing but from being. Say this now. I now entangle only with what expands me. Again, I now entangle only with what expands me. Now let us make this tangible. Start with your language. The words you speak are more than sound. They are frequencies. They become bridges between you and the realities you invite in. When you speak from fear, I do not know how. It never works out. I always fail. You strengthen the neural and energetic pathway to those outcomes. But when you shift to language of embodiment, I am learning, I am aligning, I am supported, you send out new threads into the quantum field. Threads that can only entangle with timelines that reflect your truth instead of your trauma. The next layer is intention. Every choice you make carries a frequency, even the smallest ones. When you choose from survival, you reinforce scarcity. When you choose from vision, you reinforce expansion. This does not mean every decision needs to be perfect. It means every decision should be conscious. When you eat, when you move, when you rest, when you interact, ask, am I entangling with who I have been or with who I am becoming? That question alone begins to rewrite your path. Now let us speak of triggers, the emotional flare-ups that used to knock you off center. You do not have to fear them. They are opportunities to observe your attachments, to recognize where you are still entangled with the past. And the moment you respond differently, with pause, with breath, with presence, you shift your signal. You weaken the old thread. You allow a new version of you to emerge. This is why awareness is everything. Awareness is the beginning of detangling. Awareness is the beginning of power. And when you pair awareness with practice, you create a new rhythm in your field, a new heartbeat for the quantum to sync with. Let us introduce a simple morning alignment practice. Each day, before checking your phone, before stepping into the noise of the world, place your hand over your heart and say, I entangle only with the future that reflects my highest timeline. Breathe. Visualize that timeline. Feel the ease, the peace, the clarity. You are not imagining it. You are initiating it. And as you move through the day, check in. Ask, what frequency am I choosing right now? Is it contraction or expansion? Is it fear or faith? Is it repetition or rebirth? Because you are choosing, whether you are aware of it or not. To reshape your path, you must start choosing with intention. Now let us speak of environment. Your surroundings are not neutral. The people you keep around you, the spaces you occupy, the energy you allow into your mental field, all of it entangles with you. So clear your space. Set energetic boundaries. Let go of the environments that reinforce the version of you you have outgrown, not out of judgment, but out of alignment. Every version of your future has a different vibrational address, and you cannot live in two frequencies at once. Say it again. I now entangle only with what expands me. This is the frequency of the awakened path, the path that does not need to be forced, only followed, the path that reshapes itself around your awareness. Because the moment you stop reacting and start choosing, everything begins to move. Not instantly, not dramatically, but undeniably. Your reality bends, your timeline shifts, your signal strengthens, and what once felt impossible begins to form in quiet, beautiful, effortless ways. This is not magic. It is mastery, and it begins the moment you remember. You are the entangler. You are the transmitter. You are the one who reshapes reality from within. Speak these words, that I now entangle only with what expands me. But to fully step forward, something must be broken first. There are contracts you never signed with your hand, but you live by them every day. Silent agreements, etched not in ink, but in energy. Unspoken vows that whisper through your actions, your choices, your fears. They sound like, I must struggle to be worthy. I always get left behind. Good things never last for me. If I shine too brightly, I will lose love. These are not facts. They are frequencies. They are contracts. And they are entangling you with a reality that no longer matches who you are becoming. These invisible contracts are often made in moments of survival, moments when your nervous system said, this is how I will stay safe. This is what I must do to be accepted. This is the mask I will wear so I am not rejected. And in that moment, something inside you agreed, not because it was right, but because it was necessary. But survival-based agreements are not designed to evolve with you. They are meant to protect you, not to expand you. And at some point, the contract that once kept you safe becomes the very thing that keeps you stuck. That is when it is time to break it. You cannot move into a new timeline if your energy is still upholding a contract made in your lowest moment. Because the field does not just read your desire, it reads your devotion. And if you are still devoted to your pain, to your limitation, to your old identity, that is what will echo back to you. Let us go deeper. You may think you are afraid of failure, but what if the deeper truth is, you are still contracted to stay invisible? You may think you are unlucky in love, but what if your energy is still married to the belief that love is dangerous? You may think you procrastinate, but what if a younger version of you is still keeping the agreement that says, if I succeed, I will lose the people I love? These are not conscious choices. They are unconscious contracts, and they carry weight. But here is the powerful part. Contracts can be revoked. They can be dissolved. They can be rewritten. And it begins with awareness. Ask yourself, What do I still believe I must suffer for? What am I still afraid to outgrow? Where in my life am I still paying the price for something that no longer exists? Your answers will lead you to the contract. Let us pause. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel into your chest, your gut, your spine. Where do you feel tension? Where do you feel stuck? Where do you feel like you are pushing against something unseen? That is where the agreement lives. Now bring that energy into your awareness, gently, without judgment. Speak to it like this. I see you. I understand why you were created, but I no longer need this contract to feel safe. Say it again. I no longer need this contract to feel safe. And now, choose something new. Not just with your words, but with your state. Say, I choose freedom. I choose truth. I choose expansion. When you revoke an old contract, you do more than heal. You open space. And that space becomes a portal for new timelines to enter. Because the moment your signal is no longer bound by fear, guilt, or shame, it begins to broadcast clarity. And clarity collapses reality faster than force ever could. You will know a contract has been broken when the same situation arises, but you respond differently. You feel neutral. You feel grounded. You feel free. Freedom is not the absence of challenge. It is the absence of energetic obligation to your past. And when you live from that freedom, your entanglements change. Your identity shifts. Your choices align. Say this now. I release all contracts that no longer reflect my truth. Again, I release all contracts that no longer reflect my truth. You are not here to carry old agreements. You are here to choose again, to create from sovereignty, to form new contracts with ease, with trust, with expansion. You have that right. You always did. No one else can break these bonds for you, because no one else created them. You did, in moments of fear, and now you can undo them from a place of power. And once you do, the field responds, because the field is loyal to your present signal, not your past story. So check your energy. Ask, what am I still agreeing to, without even realizing it? And then decide, I revoke this contract. I choose something new. This is how energetic sovereignty begins. This is how entanglement becomes alignment. Not with struggle, but with clarity. Not with force, but with frequency. And when your frequency reflects your freedom, your path begins to rebuild itself, clean, clear, and utterly aligned with your soul. What old promise are you still keeping that your soul already outgrew? Let's now bring it all together into a practice you can live every day. You do not need to wait for a cosmic event to change your life. You do not need to wait for a sign. You are the signal. But that signal must be strengthened daily, because the quantum field is always listening. And the more consistent your frequency becomes, the more precise the feedback loop becomes. This is where most people fall off. They have breakthroughs, then forget to maintain the alignment. They feel connected, then drift back into autopilot. But quantum entanglement does not care how inspired you were for a moment. It responds to what you are consistently entangled with. So how do you stay aligned with your quantum path, not just once, but every day? You anchor into practice. Not routine for the sake of habit, but ritual for the sake of resonance. Let us begin with the first shift. 1. Morning alignment through identity activation. The moment you wake up, your brain reboots. Your body resets. Your field recalibrates. And the first few minutes are the most potent window of influence. This is where you must plant the seed of who you are becoming. Not just with thoughts, but with feeling. Sit up. Breathe deeply. Place your hand over your heart and declare out loud, today I entangle only with timelines that expand my truth. I remember who I am. and I broadcast from that place. Close your eyes and see it. Feel it. Visualize the version of yourself who already lives that reality. The version who chooses clearly, walks peacefully, speaks powerfully. This is not daydreaming. This is identity activation. You are not imagining. You are aligning. By doing this first thing in the morning, you send a clear message to the field. This is the signal I am transmitting today, and the field responds accordingly. 2. Midday emotional check-in, the frequency tuner. By midday you have absorbed energy from conversations, from thoughts, from environments. Some of it is yours, some of it is not. Without realizing it, your signal can drift. This is where the second shift comes in, a 60-second emotional check-in. Pause. Turn your attention inward. Ask, what emotion am I entangled with right now? Is it helping me collapse the timeline I want, or keeping me in the one I left? If the answer reveals a misalignment, frustration, doubt, stress, do not fight it. Witness it. Feel it. Then shift it with breath and intention. Use a short affirmation like, I return to my chosen frequency. I release what is not mine. I now choose to collapse only what serves. This is not about forcing positivity. It is about regaining authorship over your field. You are the transmitter. Midday is your chance to fine-tune the frequency. 3. Bedtime repatterning. Closing the loop. Your final shift happens as your conscious mind begins to rest. This is where your subconscious becomes dominant. This is where your body repairs, your brain integrates, your energy reorganizes. Do not go to sleep entangled with fear, regret, or overthinking. If you do, those frequencies seed your next cycle. Instead, make this final shift your most sacred. Lay down. Place one hand over your heart, one over your belly. Breathe slowly, and speak this aloud, gently but with conviction. I release all misaligned energy from this day. I forgive what needs to be forgiven, including myself. I collapse the day with gratitude, and I choose alignment for tomorrow. Then visualize your energy field glowing gently around you. See it purging any static. See it returning to harmony. You do not need a perfect day to end it powerfully. You only need presence. And presence is the foundation of alignment. These 3 daily shifts are not tasks. They are tuning forks. They keep your signal strong. They protect you from drifting back into patterns that no longer match your frequency. They remind the field and your nervous system that you are a conscious creator. Say this now. I collapse only what serves. Again, I collapse only what serves. Because the field is always mirroring. And when you meet it with clarity, it meets you with precision. If you want to accelerate your quantum path, anchor into repetition. If you want to stabilize your breakthroughs, ritualize your resonance. And if you want to walk into a version of your life that feels like a miracle, begin showing up as someone who expects alignment, not by force but by frequency. The old way was hustle. The new way is harmony. Let this land. You are not trying to control the future. You are learning how to broadcast a frequency that magnetizes the future already aligned with you. Do this daily. Not perfectly, not rigidly, but consistently. Because frequency rewards consistency, not intensity. You do not need to control the future. You only need to tune into the version that is already waiting. If this message is resonating, share it with someone awakening too. They are already entangled with this truth. And now, the final remembrance. You have searched for answers. You have gathered wisdom. You have dismantled beliefs, cut the cords, broken the loops, and rewritten the path. And now, as you stand here, at the edge of remembering, you must know this. You were never disconnected. You were always entangled. From the moment you arrived in this lifetime, the field began moving with you. Every breath, every thought, every choice, mirrored in the quantum sea of possibility. And yet you felt separate. You felt small. You were told that life happens to you, that you must earn your worth, that the future is random, that miracles are rare. But none of that was ever true. The separation was the illusion. The forgetting was part of the design. And the remembering, that is why you are here now. Because this is not just information. This is initiation. This is the moment you no longer chase a path, but become it. Let us return to what you have learned. Quantum entanglement showed you the web beneath the surface, the invisible threads linking all things across time and space. It proved what mystics knew long before science had the language. Everything is connected. Everything is communicating. Everything is responding. You now know that your thoughts are not just fleeting. They are frequencies. You now understand that your emotions are not distractions. They are anchors or portals. You have seen how your attention collapses reality, how your observation becomes instruction, how your identity becomes architecture, and most importantly, you have discovered that what you seek was never missing. It was waiting for your signal to match its presence. The version of you who has walked this far, through confusion, resistance, breakthrough, and grace, has earned one final truth. You are not becoming powerful. You are remembering that you already are. Let us slow down here. Let us breathe together. Let us open the space for one final message to settle in. Your awakening is not a destination. It is a returning to the clarity you once had before the noise of the world told you who you were supposed to be. A returning to the stillness that lives beneath the chaos. A returning to the knowing that you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not late. You are not behind. You are arriving precisely on time, in full alignment to the moment your soul has been guiding you toward. This is the final law, the law of entangled remembrance. You are not finding the path. You are the path. Everything you have moved through, every detour, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer was not in vain. It was calibration. It was preparation. It was your field adjusting itself to hold the frequency of who you are now ready to become. And now, you are ready. You are ready to live from truth, not survival. You are ready to broadcast clarity instead of confusion. You are ready to collapse timelines that feel like home, not like war. You are ready to create not from fear of what will happen if you do not, but from faith in what will happen because you finally said yes. This is not about manifesting things. It is about embodying wholeness. Because when you are whole, the universe responds in kind. It meets you with reflections that mirror your coherence. People arrive who feel like remembering. Opportunities open that feel predestined. Doors unlock, not because you forced them, but because your signal aligned with the key. Let yourself feel that. You are no longer chasing signs. You are becoming the sign. You are no longer asking for proof. You are walking as evidence. You are no longer searching. You are remembering. Say that now. I am no longer searching. I am remembering. Again. I am no longer searching. I am remembering. Let it anchor into your body. Let it root into your field. Let it ripple out, like a frequency that finds only what is meant for you. This is what you were always entangled with. Not pain, not loss, not limitation, but awakening. And the moment you stopped resisting the call, everything began to shift. Let us take one more breath, one more moment of silence, not as an ending, but as an entry into the version of you who finally trusts their own frequency, an entry into the reality where your presence is enough, where your energy shapes experience, where your past no longer anchors your path, where the field is not something outside of you, but something alive within you. From this point forward, you are not just manifesting. You are magnetizing. You are not just visualizing. You are vibrating. You are not becoming something new. You are releasing what blocked your access to what was already there. Let us affirm it one final time. I am not disconnected. I was always entangled with my truth. You did not need to become someone else. You only needed to stop forgetting who you were. Now, as this journey closes, remember, the universe does not respond to your effort. It responds to your essence. It does not obey force. It listens to coherence. And when you walk from coherence, you do not need to fight for alignment. You flow into it. This is the new path, the entangled path. The path that reshapes itself to match your truth. And that truth is already alive in you now. If you are still here feeling this, hearing this, resonating with this, know this is not the end. It is your invitation to live from the field you have just remembered. To walk each day as someone who trusts the unseen, honors the inner signal, and chooses timelines not out of fear, but from freedom. Because your greatest power is not what you do. It is who you are when you remember what you are connected to. And now, you remember. Say it with me. I am no longer searching. I am remembering. I collapse only what serves. I now entangle only with what expands me. Welcome to the field. You never left. You only forgot. But now that you remember, watch how the universe responds. If this video activated something in you, subscribe, because your awakening has already begun.